And at a point, you were like, all right, Kansas cut it 5. I'm like, all right, maybe I can win the money line. Maybe I can win all 3. And then like it flipped quick. Jared Butler just, man, like I had some knucklehead on Twitter being like listing off 15 people because I called him an All-American. And they were listing off like 15 people that were better than him. And I'm like, dude, watch the game. Like, watch the game. What are you, stupid? Like, he's a two-way guard, number one. So, like, he could score on another team. He could easily average 20 plus. But because he's on Baylor and they've got enough weapons, he averages 15 a game, 5 assists a game. Oh, by the way, they're number 2 in the country, largely because of Jared Butler. If you don't have him on your first team All-American team, you might want to watch a different sport.
Yeah, I mean he was unbelievable yesterday. The level of shot making that happened, and that's what he does. That's what he is known for. We part of the reason he's back in school right now is because he was not necessarily as good of a creator as NBA teams wanted to see out of someone that is 6'3", and he can defend and he plays within a system that is one of the best defensive systems in college basketball. But because he's on the same team as 2 of the best on-ball defenders that you are ever going to see in college, and Davion Mitchell and Mark Vital, he doesn't necessarily get the chance to have those primary assignments every once in a while. So he kind of had to come back and prove like, hey, look, you know what? His defense wasn't just a product of the system. He's really, really good. And the thing that I've been so impressed about in watching him this year is that he blocks more jumpers than anybody that's 6'3" in the history of basketball.
Yep.
He gets at least.
Well, obviously, his timing's good. It is incredible. He's just such a solid defender. Like, he's not elite, like you said, because they've got 2 elite guys. He's a step down from that. And then you had Kansas that's just offensively challenged. No other way to put it. I mean, Agbaji was really good. Obviously Christian Brown kept him in it as well. Like, those 2 guys made shots. Like, Jalen Wilson has completely come down to earth for me.
Yeah, I mean, and we knew that was going to come.
Right.
Part of the reason why once they kind of figured out what he was, the thing with Jalen is like he needs to be an elite shot maker to be able to make that work because he's not a great defender and he's not a great rebounder and he's not even a great finisher around the basket. He misses.
Not a good athlete. He's an average athlete. He is. He's an average athlete. So it's like, he's a good player. So I talked to an assistant GM yesterday for a while, and we were just talking about Kansas. And I said, I told them my tweet earlier this year, which we won't get back into 100 times. But, and I said, what do you think? Like, do you think they have a first rounder? He's like, probably not. Like, maybe Agbaji gets in there, but I probably wouldn't take him in the first round if I was picking now. So, again, listen, give them credit. They fought and they hung around long enough to be in the game with Baylor, but there was never any doubt. Like, there was never any doubt Baylor was going to win that game, was there?
No, not really. The biggest thing to me is I don't understand why Bill Self has gone back to this big lineup. Like, I know you love David McCormick.
No, he loves.
I know David McCormick had a couple of really good games in a row, but he cannot play in a game like that. Mitch Lightfoot cannot play in a game like that. Like,
you have to. You can't. You got to pick one of them. That's the problem. You're going to start that.
No,
way.
you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to pick one of them. What you can do is you can play Jalen Wilson at the 5 and go full small ball because
you will get all that crushed on the glass. They'll never get a rebound. They'll never get a rebound, Rob.
That's fine. So you're just going to lose by 15 instead. That was the biggest 8-point blowout in the history of basketball last night.
That's good.
And you're telling me that, and part of it was because Mitch Lightfoot and David McCormick were not good.
No, I mean, again, listen, Lightfoot is a nice, 10th man. That's for Kansas. That's what he ultimately is. You can't be playing, and the only reason he's playing is because, he's like a 7th-year senior. But ultimately, the bottom line is Agbaji and Brown. You almost need – the only way you're going to beat Baylor, and I said it, how many threes did they end up making in that game?
Not enough. But, they
needed 15. They needed 15 to have a chance to win that game. I'll tell you what they had here in a second. But ultimately, they had They made 10. They made 10 of 19. Honestly, they needed to take more than 19 threes. They needed to take 30 threes, make 15 of them, and then they have a shot in that game. They shot it well with Brown and Agbaji. The problem is, again, Jalen Wilson wasn't good enough, and you need all three of them to be great.
Well, the biggest issue with Wilson is that when you line up with somebody at the 5, right, it means that Mark Vital is going to be the guy that's tasked with guarding Jalen Wilson, and he has no shot against Mark Vital. Absolutely none. Sure. So if I would what I would have done is I would have just played him at the 5, and I would have forced Baylor to either put Chama Chachwa or Flo Thamba on him, or go small.
They don't have it. Here's the problem. Rob. When you look down their roster, okay, Christian Brown, nice player. Agbaji, maybe a first-round pick. He's probably their best player. Jalen Wilson, nice player. Marcus Garrett, great defender. He's an elite-level defender. Offensively, he's very mediocre. McCormick, not good enough. And then your bench isn't good enough, right? You got Enaruna, Lightfoot.
What's his name?
I can't even say it. Enaruna. The kid Harris is a fine as your backup point guard, and that's all he is. And then, Connor Tien. Like that. The problem really is your depth. As much as your starters aren't good enough, like your depth is not good enough. And that's been my whole take with Kansas. Like anybody who wants to fight me on the fact that this Kansas team isn't talented enough. Like
no one wants to fight you on that. The only people that want to fight you on that. Yes, the only people that want to fight you on that are people on Twitter, which is why you need to just you have too many Twitter followers to pay attention to every single mention that you get. Okay, no, the only people that want to fight you with it are people, the idiots on Twitter, who are idiots on Twitter for a reason. So the bottom line is this: like, I just don't see how Kansas is going to be able to get anywhere near what they want to be playing the way that they're playing right now. It's not. I just don't think that is good enough.